let's talk about how the USA might attack Venezuela. Very bad. Maybe trying to do another Iraq war. That is made up bullshit to attack an oil-rich country. All the same sorts of justifications as well. Like, Maduro is bad, therefore we must bomb Venezuela and just massacre everyone there and take its oil. Same sort of thing with Saddam. Like, Saddam Hussein is bad, and apparently, the way that we remedy that is to make things 1,000 times worse while privatizing the oil fields so that ExxonMobil can buy a bunch of them. This past week, Trump made a statement saying that he is closing Venezuelan airspace. That's not a thing that he can do, but they're also the USA and they have many planes, so you can't exactly you can't exactly take the risk. So it seems like they're trying to come up with justifications to bomb Venezuela, or I don't even know if they're gonna actually do it. Who fucking knows with Trump, man? But it's like narco-terrorism. It's the new WMDs. Like Venezuela, which isn't even a significant cocaine trafficking destination. They don't really make much cocaine there. Almost no cocaine goes through Venezuela. Almost no drugs really go through Venezuela. It's Colombia. That's the significant drug part of the global drug trade. But nonetheless, they invented this new term recently, narco. They didn't invent it. They took it from Spanish speakers who have called any left-wing leader a narco-terrorist for 2 decades now. So they adapted that term. The new hip weapons of mass destruction for Saddam Hussein. The completely nonsensical term that doesn't accurately describe anything that's actually going on at all, that is arbitrarily applied to anyone who we need a justification to do imperialism against. Apparently, there was supposed to be a call between Maduro and Trump, and I don't know if this is true or not. But Trump said that he spoke with Maduro on the phone. Who the fuck knows what about? Trump said of this supposed phone call, I don't want to comment on the call, but I did talk to him. I wouldn't say it went well or badly. It was a phone call. Who the fuck that means? And then there was speculation that Trump gave Maduro an ultimatum to relinquish power. I don't know what the exact source of this is. Sources told the Miami Herald. Okay, the Miami Herald is an extremely right-wing Cuban exile publication, so that's not exactly the most for sources said you would want a more reputable publication than the Miami Herald, let's just say. And the potential reason for them being so laser focused on Venezuela, Trump was focused on Venezuela a lot in his first term, but that was not out of line at all with typical American policy towards Venezuela. The US, from Bush, Obama, Biden, Trump again, they've all been attacking Venezuela, desperately trying to overthrow its government. They're not democratic thing is just a stretch. They were doing the exact same thing when it was Chavez, when he unambiguously was elected 100% legitimately, no question, over and over again. This is a build-up of that. And a big part of the reason for this is that Venezuela has massive oil reserves. Now, they're not the best oil reserves, but it has the biggest oil reserves in the world. And particularly that Venezuela sends this oil to other countries that the US doesn't like North Korea. Cuba especially is 100% reliant on Venezuelan oil to even function. So by even just disabling the Venezuelan oil industry, I'm not even talking about overtaking it. They would do a big blow to all of their geopolitical bad boys, the ones who they frame as innately evil enemies who are 100% attacking us, and we're definitely the ones who are attacking them. And they have been framing Venezuela as a regional threat or something. It's just total bullshit. They talk about the protocols of the elders of Caracas at this point, basically. They've got their tendrils and everything. They interfere in everything. It's just total bullshit, man. Venezuela has been in an economic crisis of varying severity for more than 10 years now. They don't have the ability to do much other than worry about their own problems. If something does actually happen here, if the US does attack in some capacity, I doubt there'll be an invasion, but I mean, my expectation would be that they would launch attacks on oil fields and shit while claiming that they're doing it against narco-terrorism or some shit. But they might actually try to kill Maduro or something in airstrikes, or just randomly bomb Caracas, or maybe even invade. I don't know. That would be a bad idea though. Venezuela is close enough to the US, to US military bases, that it's really not that difficult for them to just launch airstrikes and drone strikes. And what could Venezuela do about that? Almost nothing. The only way that Venezuela could potentially fight back is against a ground invasion. We're not exactly talking about a country with a big air force. or much air defense. It's going to be in a worse situation in terms of that than Ukraine is. It's like the situation where this could go badly for the US would only be a ground invasion. So they surely wouldn't be stupid enough to commit to that. Like Latin American countries, in spite of like the image that people have of them for some reason, are extremely demilitarized, aside from Brazil. But Brazil's military is mostly for policing, which, you know, they just kill people in favelas all the time. These countries are very demilitarized in the sense of they do not really need, until now, actually, they haven't really needed militaries. Because what would they use them for? Any potential conflict between Latin American countries would do nothing. South America, rather. It's not the same in Central America. Any potential conflict would just be harmful to everyone involved. They'd gain nothing from it. So no one really needs a military. It's like a mutually assured non-destruction thing where everyone sort of just doesn't really take their military seriously. And that enables everyone else to also not take their military seriously. Because you only really need a military as strong as the threats to it. And you know, the Venezuelan military has like 120,000 active personnel, less than $1 billion per year in military budget. You know, it's significantly smaller than Ukraine's military at the point of the Russian invasion. So yeah, I would hope there's no invasion. Obviously, they do have a capacity to defend against a ground invasion, because ground invasions are, especially sea-based ground invasions, like landings, are fucking disastrous to do. You know, even when you have overwhelming force, it's something that you definitely don't want to do. So, I don't know what to expect here. Hopefully nothing happens. I think nothing is probably the most likely thing. Followed by like airstrikes and ground invasion, I couldn't really imagine. But I mean, I'm not going to rule anything out. Trump's a moron. Trump will do whatever he feels like in the moment. But what I will say here is that if you're in America right now, even the possibility of this happening should have you outraged, and you should be out in the streets, and I am ashamed of all of you that you aren't already. This is a potential Iraq war moment, and you already didn't meet the Iraq war with the militancy and the seriousness and the numbers that was needed. Now, there's literally nothing, and the American dissent against the Iraq war looks like heaven compared to what's happening now. So I want you all to get your shit together. But what influence do I have? I'm a random YouTuber. But I think this is very sad. People just don't take this shit seriously anymore. Where's the largest socialist organization in the USA, the DSA? Why aren't they organizing massive million-person protests like they were against the Iraq war? That's the level of seriousness that you need to be approaching this with. You need to give them some indication that you're not just going to sit there and passively take this, passively just let them do this to Venezuela. We live in some dire fucking times, man.